Thank you, Elle. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Elle, for the opportunity to come here as well and speak with the treasurers. This is a great opportunity because we need your help. Before I proceed, thank you for yesterday, for the 2 projects that you're supporting. Thank you very much. And also, please remember Kathy in your prayers. Her daughter has had an allergic reaction, so she's not here. But she'll be all right. So if we can begin. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you mainly about the annual appeal for 2018. And you can, I guess, adopt the same approach for future annual appeal periods. The reason why we decided to come and speak with the treasurers today is that we really do need your help with the reporting. The ADRA agents are doing a great job in appealing and raising funds for ADRA. But as Earl has just said, the treasurer is the custodian of all the church funds. It's important that as treasurers, we help and support the ADRA agents to make sure that the accounting of the church funds is done correctly. Now, some ADRA agents are, if truth be told, at the board meeting will be nominated right at the, not board meeting, nominating committee right at the end after every position's been filled. So sometimes it's somebody that is willing to do it, but may not be able to necessarily have the financial reporting skills, or, you know, they're not a treasurer, if I can put it that way. So they struggle with completing the record book. And so that's why it's really important that we work together in this. So I'll just really briefly take you through the materials. So that you have an idea of what they've received. I need to stress this as well, this point that I don't want us to undermine the ADRA agents. We just need to work together, if that's okay. So this year, what's new is that the door collection and general donations book is now one book. So that... So that makes life easier for most people. I'll explain quickly why the two had to be and still have to be separate. So the door collection, we are one of the 45 charities in the UK that's got the license to go door to door and appeal for donations. Amen? So only 45 charities can do that in the UK. And now, because we have that license, we're required to complete an audit for the funds that we collect on the door and report that back to the Cabinet Office. So it's really important that we separate the door collection from any other donations, you know, your fund run and sponsorships and the checks that you put in the gift aid envelope. So anything that you get that's collected from the door must be put in a separate section of the collection book. And the other thing that's new this year is that the banking can also be done in one single bank account. Amen again, because before we had CAF and we had HSBC to keep the two separate. But this is where we're going to have a bit of a problem, you know, and that's where I need your help. And the conference treasurers were reiterating on the reconciliation issue. So, you know, to basically mimic what they were saying, when the banking is done, the paying in stub needs to be attached to the report so that we can tell who's banked how much, and all the amounts that have been collected and recorded in the book need to agree with what has been banked. If it doesn't agree, then we have a problem. You'll see why later on that this is a real problem. So also, there are some churches that have told us that the HSBC branch has closed near them. Those in Scotland, there's no HSBC, I think, in most places. Some in Plymouth have said the same thing. And I think all across the country, they're doing the same thing. So HSBC have negotiated with the post office that customers of HSBC can deposit funds at their local post office. I think that's a really good thing for those that cannot get to HSBC. For this is where we need the treasurers, more importantly, instead of the ADRA agents. I've got some forms, so if you have this problem, if your agent's got this problem, please come and see me, and I'll give you a form for you to complete. Now, we've spoken with the BUC treasurer, Earl, and we've agreed that it's best that the card that's going to be issued for the deposit is given to you as the treasurer and not the ADRA agent. For the reason I stated earlier, some of them are nominated at the end when no one else is, you know, available to do it. And so with the treasurers, there's usually a lot of continuity, and it's better, therefore, that we give the card to you as the treasurer. And so you can give that card to the ADRA agent for banking when they need it, or you can do the banking for them if you have time. but the card will have your name on it. Just so we're clear, you won't be able to withdraw any ADRA funds with that card. You will only be able to deposit money into the ADRA account. I have made sure that that's the case. So, another little thing with banking at the post office is some have told us that the post office will not take cash or lots of coins. We've been told by HSBC they have a contract, a business contract, that they have to accept our deposits, but there's usually a daily limit of £500. So if your church has raised a lot of money, just try and take it in batches of £500 and you should be okay. Sorry, I understand that, but this is a workaround. So if you're in Scotland and there's no sign of HSBC anywhere, this is a good option. It is really the easiest way to try and work around this. I'll just take one very quick question. Okay. Yeah, someone said that from your experience, small ones won't do it. But I will feed this back to HSBC because they have a business contract with them, with the post office, and we have been talking to them about this. Is new as well, so there will be teething problems. Okay, so this year, another really exciting thing that we've come up with is that all churches that raise a minimum of £500, this is door-to-door and general donations through the annual appeal, will get 10% back, or we will have the option to apply for 10% to come back. So it's obvious if you raise £50,000, you will get 10% of £50,000. If you only raise £500, you will only get 10% of £500. So it's a motivation, for both ADRA and the churches. However, to get the 10% return, please encourage your ADRA agents to complete the reporting book correctly and submit it to us on time. On time means it needs to be at our desk at ADRA UK on or before the 31st of May 2018, not 2019, 2018. So it needs to be with us by the 31st of May 2018. If we don't get it on time, if the reconciliation doesn't work, so you say that you've collected £3,000, but on the bank I can only see £300, you will not get it. So it's really important that we work together and get everything accurate. Okay, so I'll just quickly look through the reporting book. You don't really have to worry about the detail of the book, I guess, because you're the treasurers. So inside there are some instructions, a section for door collection and a section for general donations. They're color-coded, so door collection is green and general is pink. And then at the end, there's a banking section. This is where they summarize what's been banked and attach the counterfoils from the bank. All very straightforward, in my view. And then the last thing that you'll see in the book is the details and certification. So it's really important that they read the instructions carefully. So if they attended the ADRA agent training 15 years ago, that's not going to work. They will need to follow the instructions that are in the 2018 book for the 2018 ADRA annual appeal. And if we don't follow the instructions, everything's going to go wrong. I'll just give you an example. Some ADRA agents accidentally would record door collection money in the non-door collection section. So when I submit the audit to the Cabinet Office, my audit's going to be wrong because we're mixing things up. And for us to continue to have that privilege of that only 45 charity have to go door to door, we need to do everything correctly. God expects us to, live to high standards, and so we should look after his accounts to a high standard. So this is how the book looks inside. This is the first section. The door collection section. So home tin money does not go in here. It only goes in the pink section. We've made sure that we've highlighted this. And also the receipting is within the book. Some clever copying is taking place there. They just detach from the perforation on the white page and they receipt. And the pink section, as I've explained earlier, is for the general donations. So home tin money, sponsored activities, and if someone wants to put members, because a lot of people are now not going door to door, they prefer to put money in here, so they put it in here. So gift aid, anyone who wants to give through gift aid needs to use this envelope, and you need to encourage the ADRA agents to return these envelopes to us so we can process the gift aid. We're not as sophisticated as the North and South England conferences. We're only a small charity, so we don't issue numbers or anything like that. And so if anybody wants to give to ADRA UK using and gift aid their donation, they will need to use this envelope. If they return that through the conference tithing envelope, the gift aid will be administered by the North and South, and it's up to them what they do with the gift aid, which, makes sense. So then you've got the banking reporting page. So it's really important that what they take from page 1 of the green section goes into the box for page 1 of the green section, and so on and so forth, and that they add everything up correctly. The declaration, this year we're encouraging that the witness that signs off alongside the pastor be the local treasurer, so that's you, or the conference treasurer. This is for them. So this is just admin, basically, where they have a collection badge. So the reference on the collection badge needs to agree with the reference that is put on the door collection record book, so that we know that Mr. Baker, with the badge number 1, all that information tallies up. If we were to be audited and needed to produce any information, we're able to produce that. This is all very straightforward, so adding up everything correctly, and then transferring the figures to the banking record page. And then the non-door collection book, this is where they can tick the box to say whether someone gave by cash or check, and whether or not they want that donation to be gift aided. I won't go through the mechanics of the gift aid. I think Carrie Ann and Aftab have explained that already. It works in the same way. If you're not a UK taxpayer, you can't gift aid. But there's a problem. Sometimes some ADRA agents will, when they collect all the money given in the envelope, will say, oh, okay, it's a gift aid envelope, and then they'll tick the box. If the donor hasn't ticked the box, they should not be ticking the box, because the donor knows whether or not they pay tax. So it's important, as we stressed this out at the training days, but I'm just sharing that with you as well. That's important. And again, it's important to enter the details correctly and make sure that everything adds up. So that's the receipting for the non-door collection side. And then this is the summary now of the banking record page. So what you can do is you could always, add up, review the book for them, add up and make sure that everything, tallies up, that the general donations and the door collection add up to the amount that they've declared, and that this all also feeds through to how much they've banked. On banking, please encourage the ADRA agents to bank regularly. We have had a testimony where somebody nearly lost £4,000 in ADRA funds. It's nice that the money was recovered, but my question was, how did you get to have a bag with £4,000 in it? I know they didn't get all that money on one day, so it's really important that for personal safety as well, that banking is done on a regular basis. I know there's a challenge with accessing the banks, but wherever possible, please, let's do the banking regularly. If it's okay, maybe they could give some of the money to you when you're doing your weekly banking of the church funds, if possible. So again, check that the total raised is the same as the total banked. If not, why not? Because once the reporting book comes to us, it'll be difficult for me to try and work out why there's a difference, since I physically wouldn't have been there when the details are being entered. So when it comes to that 10% that the church might want to claim back, I will take the lower of the amount banked and the amount reported. I can only give back what's come through the bank. And again, this is where the counterfoils are important. If I cannot identify how much has come from your church, that money will sit in a suspense account, and so when it comes to awarding the £500, you'll miss out on the money that's on the suspense account, because we cannot allocate it to anybody. I think in one particular year we had £50,000 of cash that we couldn't allocate to a church, and I know a lot of churches want to know how much they've done every year, through the annual appeal. So I really need your help. So the ADRA agents are to complete the book and make sure that all the details are completed clearly, and that if there is a problem, we can contact them. So the email address needs to be written correctly. I would suggest using capital letters, phone numbers on there, and that they tick the box that they want the 10% back. If the box is not ticked and the report is late and doesn't reconcile, there's a risk that the money will not come back to the church. Certification needs to be done by the ADRA agent, signed by the treasurer, please, if that's okay, and also by the pastor. If the pastor is on a sabbatical and you're under the care of the elder, then please ask the head elder to sign it for you. We're coming to the end of it now. So another really important part that we must not forget is the pre-submission checklist. So please encourage your ADRA agents to make sure that they go through the checklist and that they tick off everything that, that they have actually done before they submit everything to us. By what date? Is that the date that it should go to the post office? Is that the date that it should be with me? That's the date. That's the date that the report needs to be with ADRA UK. So, thank you very much. I'm just concluding my presentation. Just running through it really quickly. And then there's also, again, just to reiterate, completed and signed bank paying slips, gift aid envelopes. One other little thing. In the UK, there's now new £1 coins, new £10 notes. The home tins, please encourage the ADRA agents, I think, when you go back, to make sure they call back all the home tins and that we bank all the old money so that we don't lose out, because I think there will be, I know there's a deadline that the bank will be receiving the old cash. So if they could collect everything and bank that. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much. Is there anything else?